William wiped down the bar counter for the 100th time that night, his mind wandering to far-off adventures as he gazed out the grimy windows of Joe's tavern. The same old regulars nursed their beers, telling the same old stories. He sighed, wondering if anything exciting would ever happen in this sleepy Midwestern town. "Hey, Will, how about another round?" called out Tom, a grizzled factory worker. "Coming right up," William replied, grabbing fresh mugs. As he poured the draft beers, a blinding light suddenly flooded the bar. William shielded his eyes, heart racing. When he looked up, the roof had vanished, and a pulsing beam engulfed him, Tom, and 3 other patrons. William's feet left the floor, and he flailed wildly as he was pulled upward, the bar shrinking below. "What the hell?" he shouted, but his voice was swallowed by a deafening hum. In a disorienting flash, William found himself sprawled on a gleaming metal floor. He scrambled to his feet, head spinning. The other men from the bar groaned nearby, equally bewildered. They stood in a vast chamber filled with sleek technology far beyond anything on Earth. William gaped at the star field visible through massive windows. "Holy," he breathed. "We're in space." A door slid open with a hiss. William's jaw dropped as a group of stunningly beautiful women strode in, clad in form-fitting uniforms. They could have been supermodels, yet carried themselves with military precision. Their leader locked eyes with William. She was tall and lithe, with flowing blonde hair and piercing blue eyes. Despite her ethereal beauty, her gaze was cold and imperious. "I am Commander Arya of the Zentaur," she announced. "You primitive savages are now property of the Galactic Alliance." The other men began shouting in panic and outrage. Arya silenced them with a sharp gesture. "Restrain the primitives and prepare them for processing." As Zentaur guards moved to subdue them, William's bartender instincts kicked in. He raised his hands placatingly. "Whoa, let's all calm down here. How about we discuss this over drinks? I make a mean cosmic cocktail." Arya arched an eyebrow, seeming almost amused by his audacity. "You think your primitive concoctions could impress beings of our sophistication?" William grinned rakishly. "Only one way to find out, gorgeous. Or are you afraid to try something new?" For a moment, Arya looked taken aback by his boldness. Then her eyes narrowed dangerously. "You will address me as Commander, you insolent barbarian. Guards, take them to holding cells. We'll soon break that foolish spirit." As the guards roughly seized them, William locked eyes with Arya once more. "Looking forward to our next chat, Commander," he said with a wink. Arya turned away sharply, but not before William caught a flicker of intrigue in her ice-blue eyes. The Zentaur guards marched the captive Earthlings through winding corridors of gleaming metal and pulsing energy conduits. William's mind raced, trying to process the impossible situation. "I can't believe this," muttered Tom. "Alien abduction was not on my bingo card for tonight." "At least they're hot aliens," quipped Jake, the college kid who'd been trying to use a fake ID earlier. William shot him a look. "Maybe cool it with ogling our captors, kid." "What? Like you weren't totally flirting with the head honcho back there?" Jake retorted. Before William could respond, they were shoved into a spacious holding cell. The energy barrier flickered to life behind them with an ominous hum. "What are we going to do?" whimpered Earl, the town drunk. "I don't want to be alien meat, Will." William paced the cell, mind working furiously. "All right, let's think this through. They said something about a tournament, right? Maybe if we do well, we can negotiate our freedom." Tom scoffed. "You're dreaming, Will. Did you see their tech? We're cavemen compared to them." "Maybe," William conceded, "but they look just like us. There's got to be some common ground we can work with." Jake pressed his face against the energy barrier, peering down the corridor. Guys, I think we're about to get some company." The barrier dissolved, and Arya strode in, flanked by guards. Her gaze swept imperiously over the prisoners before settling on William. "You, bartender, come with me," she commanded. William squared his shoulders and stepped forward, ignoring the nervous muttering of his companions. "Got a name for that drink order yet, Commander?" Arya's eyes flashed. "Your misplaced bravado will not serve you here, Earthling. You've been chosen for initial processing. The rest will follow shortly." As they exited the cell, William heard Jake whisper, "Dude, she's totally into you." William was led to a sterile chamber filled with strange medical equipment. Arya gestured for him to sit on an examination table. "Strip," she ordered curtly. William raised an eyebrow. "Buying a guy a drink first is customary where I come from." "Your primitive courtship rituals are irrelevant here," Arya snapped. "We must assess your physical condition before the games begin." "Ah, yes, these mysterious games," William said as he reluctantly removed his shirt. "Care to elaborate on what exactly we're in for?" "The Star Arena is the galaxy's greatest gladiatorial spectacle," Arya replied coldly, her eyes roaming clinically over his exposed torso. "Fighters from across the cosmos compete in trials of strength, skill, and cunning." "And what happens to the losers?" William asked, dreading the answer. "They are disposed of," Arya replied, "along with their homeworlds." William froze. "You destroy an entire planet over a game? That's insane." "It is the way of the universe," Arya hissed. "Only the strong survive." William's mind reeled. "If we're so similar, doesn't that suggest a common origin? Maybe our peoples are connected somehow." "Impossible," Arya scoffed. "Zentaur are the pinnacle of evolution. We share nothing with backward savages like you." "Really? Because from where I'm standing, we seem to have a lot in common," William said with a grin. "Same basic build, same number of limbs. You're certainly easy on the eyes by human standards." For a moment, Arya seemed flustered by his forwardness. Then her imperious mask slammed back into place. "Your feeble attempts at manipulation will not work on me, Earthling. Prepare yourself for the arena. You'll need every ounce of cunning to survive even the first round." As she turned to leave, William called out, "Looking forward to surprising you, Commander." Arya paused at the door, glancing back with an unreadable expression. Then she was gone, leaving William alone with his racing thoughts and the weight of Earth's fate on his shoulders. The next morning, William and the other Earthlings were led to the arena, a massive structure buzzing with anticipation. The crowd's roar was deafening, an alien cacophony of cheers and jeers. Arya stood in the command box, her gaze fixed on William. The first trial was announced, a race through a labyrinth filled with deadly traps. William exchanged grim looks with Tom, Jake, and Earl. "Stick together and stay sharp," he urged. They plunged into the maze, dodging lasers and leaping over pitfalls. William's agility and quick thinking saved them multiple times. When Jake tripped and nearly fell into a spike pit, William grabbed him just in time. "We've got this," he said, pulling Jake to his feet. They reached the end of the labyrinth, exhausted but alive. The crowd roared, impressed by their teamwork. Arya's gaze softened slightly as she watched William. That night, as they rested in their cell, Arya visited William alone. "You did well today," she said, a hint of admiration in her voice. "We survived, that's all," William replied. Arya hesitated. "There's more at stake here than you realize. The final trial, it's a fight to the death." William's eyes hardened. "We won't play by their rules. We'll find another way." Arya looked torn, then nodded slightly. "Perhaps, together, we can change things." As she left, William felt a glimmer of hope. They had a chance, however slim, to turn the tide. And with Arya's help, they just might survive the horrors of the arena and save their world. Subscribe to watch more amazing sci-fi stories.